Good morning. We'll just get started in just a minute. We'll just take one more minute to let people in, and then we will get started with our next LionSide chat. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Penn State Berks LionSide Chats. My name is Ryan Hassler, and I'm one of the 3 LionSide Chat moderators working alongside Don Pfeiffer-Wrights and Sonia De La Cuito. Come on in and welcome to our campus. We are so glad that you could join us today. Before we get started, we want to share that you should please feel free to submit questions throughout the entire program via the question and answer feature. We will not be utilizing the raise hand feature for today's webinar. Once our presentation concludes today, we will facilitate a discussion with our presenter. We will also be recording today's session so you can revisit the topic or even share the experience with friends and family. Now we are excited to introduce Kayla Finkelstein.
All right. Hi,
Kayla is a junior. Hi, Kayla. Kayla is a junior food science major with concentrations in nutritional science and agricultural business. Kayla has spent her first 2 years at Berks for the 2-in-2 program that Penn State offers. Sadly, although we're very excited for her that she will be transitioning up to University Park in the spring, that she will no longer be with us, but she has a great story to tell, and she will be speaking about college life, balancing social and academic involvement, and I can speak very highly of Kayla. She was in my class this spring, so she has found that right niche in terms of the balancing of the two. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Kayla. Thank you, and I will ask you to share your screen.
Alrighty. All right, hi everybody. My name is Kayla, and like Dr. Hassler said, I am a rising junior, and I'm a food science major with concentrations in nutritional sciences and ag business. Just a little about that. The reason I kind of chose that was because I didn't want a minor. I wanted to explore different areas. So for anyone who was wondering about that, you're able to do that with any of your majors. So today my topic is just kind of about college life, balancing social and academic involvement. For all of you seniors who are going to be transitioning to college, this is definitely something that you might struggle with at first, but I'm hoping that all of my insight will be helpful to you guys. All right, so some of the challenges that you will face and the topics that I will be talking about today are living arrangements at college level classes, getting involved with clubs and all the social aspects, the responsibilities and opportunities you will have on campus, and then just general resources. So again, I'm a junior with food science major. I'm doing the 2+2 program, which I'll talk a little bit about. And then just some things I was involved in at my time at Penn State Berks. So I was a Lion ambassador. This is the only exclusive club on campus. So you had to go through a process where you would apply and interview and stuff like that. So for anyone who was able to go to campus already and tour it, the Lion ambassadors were the people who gave you the tours and all the insight. The second club I was involved with was called SLAC. So it was the Student Library Advisory Club. And basically we were trying to help better the library, different resources, get new chairs, stuff like that. This is a new club and I know they're looking for members. So anybody who is interested in that type of thing, definitely look into the club fair when it comes around. And then also I was able to have a part-time job. So I started out as a food service employee at Tully's. Tully's is the one main dining area on campus that you can eat at. And then because of my food science major, I was offered a job as a part-time student chef. So for all fall and the most of spring before we went online, I was able to work very closely with one of the head chefs, and I would be able to make all the meals and stuff like that. So that's one of the many opportunities that you can have as a student on campus for a job. And then the last thing that I was able to do is, because I'm a food science major and I'm involved a lot with science, I was able to be a chemistry TA. So you could be a teacher's assistant basically for any class. All you have to do is take the class and then pass with an A. You do have to take 3 credits worth of a course, and someone will teach teach that course, and basically you'll read a book and meet with all the other new TAs, and it definitely helped. Basically, it went through the process of how to help students through the class. So for my chemistry class, it was just the basic Chem 110. So we had 60 students, and there were 3 TAs. So basically, you walk around and just help the students. And the point of that is that it kind of gives you a better idea of how to study. So, when you're going through college classes, you want to look at, how do I want to learn the material, or how am I going to learn the material, and what works for me? So I think the best advice that I've gotten from professors is that you want to go about classes like you're teaching it. So if you're able to teach a subject, then essentially, you know it well. So that opportunity was really helpful in, learning and gaining skills in how to study correctly. So the first thing I want to talk about is living arrangements. So whether you are commuting from home, whether you're living on campus or off campus, there's a lot of different options. So on campus living, we have 2 places called the Woods and the Village. So both the Woods and the Village have a doubles option. So basically you will share a room with another person per the double. Another option we have on campus is the single, and the single is only offered in the Woods. So basically you will still have different people in your suite, but you will have your own room. So the ratios on campus are always 4-to-1. So per suite, you'll have 4 people to 1 bathroom. So you're going to have a shower stall as well as a toilet. And this ratio is throughout the whole living arrangements. So if you live in the village, it's a little bit different. It's more communal, so you have more open space. In your suite, there's going to be 8 people, so you'll have 2 bathrooms, so you still have that 4-to-1 ratio. And then for anyone wondering, so you can only live with the same gender in your suite. However, you are able to live across from the opposite gender. And that can be helpful, making friends. You can hang out with a lot of different people. In the valley, or sorry, not in the valley, in the village, they actually have areas where you can sit and watch TV. So it's definitely a really good opportunity to meet different people. And then they also have study rooms so that you can go in there, use a whiteboard, and just, do your homework, have a quiet space, which is nice. And then meal plans and line cash. So meal plans, there's basically 3 different types of meal plans, and it starts at the most basic. Basically, it's 1, 2 and 3, excuse me. And basically it depends on how much you eat. And then line cash is another good opportunity. So you can load money onto your ID, and basically you will use that for paying for laundry. You can also, in certain areas, so off campus, we have a shopping center that I'll talk about. Places like Chipotle or Moe's, they'll actually accept line cash. So you can upload money onto your ID and then just swipe it, and then you'll be able to pay that way. Line cash is kind of like a little bit of spending money, but for either on-campus resources like the bookstore, so you can buy things from there, rent textbooks through Lion Cash, but most importantly, it's for using it for laundry. And then resource for students involving housing. So housing and food services is right across from Tully's, which is in the Perkins Student Center. So whether you've been on campus or not, you'll be able to see that. Housing and food services, they're very helpful if you have questions about your meal plan, about housing, and just in general. And you also, for living, you can request roommates. So you'll be able to do that through LionPath, which is one of the tools we use at Penn State. And you can request roommates and suite mates so that you'll be able to be with them and live with them if you know someone, but also you can just request random. And I know many people who went random and they met their best friends. So definitely a lot of opportunities to meet people. Alrighty. So college level courses, I know this is one of the biggest topics when going to college. So just a few resources that I want to mention before I go into details. So the Learning and Writing Center. Just like in high school, if you needed help in certain areas, if you wanted to get a better grade in the class, go from a B to an A, you went and got tutored. So the Learning and Writing Center is a free resource on campus. You just have to make an appointment online, and then you are able to go in and meet with someone. The people who run this, it's usually students, but there are opportunities for professors who hold their office hours in there. So you can go and get assistance and help. And it's definitely a resource that I have taken advantage of. Dr. Hassler taught stat, and I was in there many times, and it's just one of those things that, takes you from that B+ to an A, and it was definitely a helpful resource. And honestly, there's no shame in it. even if I was doing well in a class, I would just go and make sure that I got the concept down. And it definitely shows. I did well in my courses, and, you make real relationships with people. And that's something that's really nice about Penn State Berks. We got around 2,500 students, so it's smaller, it's more personal, and you can make good connections, whether it be with students or with professors. So another opportunity, you can be a student mentor or a peer mentor. So this kind of goes along with a teaching assistant. I know one of my friends was a peer health mentor, so it's something you can get credit for. You can be a mentor, whether it be in a first year seminar or a class, but it's just another opportunity to get involved. And then again, a teacher assistant, like I told you guys, I was able to have the opportunity to be one because I took the course, got an A in it, and then took the credit to become one. And then advisors. This is something that I really want to stress. So your advisor is someone who's assigned to you. So if I know there's a lot of engineers here, you'll get a specific advisor in your field, whether it be like mechanical engineering, civil engineering. These people are there to help you. Take advantage of them. You should definitely just have a meeting with them, even if you know what classes you want to take. They've been here for a really long time, and they know how to set you up for success. So one of the reasons I came to Penn State Berks was because it was the only Commonwealth campus with a food science professor. So Dr. Garama was my advisor, and I sat down with him the very first time when I met him through scheduling. And for food science and a lot of other majors, you have to follow a strict plan. And if I did not sit down with him and plan out my classes, I would have been behind. There's a lot of classes that you have to take, they required, and sometimes they're only offered in spring or fall. And Dr. Garama was essential in making sure that I got all my credits done before I would transfer to UP. So again, even if you have it figured out, just meet with them. They also care about you. They want to ask you how you're doing, how you're transitioning, how your classes are, you're making friends, that stuff. And again, we get really personal here. We make these close relationships. Dr. Brown was helping me find internships for this summer. So it's just one of those things that I can't stress enough to take advantage of. And then, so one-on-one meetings with professors. So kind of like the Learning Center, but not exactly in it. I did this, I took organic chemistry, which is probably one of the hardest sciences. And I would always just schedule meetings with my professors who was teaching it. Just, sit down with them if there's a concept that I wasn't able to get, just get their advice and their help with it. And one of the great things is we're able to do this because, we have this small, close-knit campus. So definitely take advantage of that, because they'll help you, with all your coursework, but you make relationships. I think that I had almost every person in the chem department because I've taken 4 chemistry classes, and I definitely feel like they've helped me with academic and non-academic things. So it's definitely a really good resources. So on-campus opportunities. So again, I talked about being a peer mentor. You can tutor in the Learning and Writing Center. So just like being a TA, you just have to be able to take the course and then get an A in that. And then being a part-time employee, so you could work in Tully's, but also some of the other resources. We have a Beaver Community Center, so that's where all the sports take place, so you can work at the front desk. You can also work at the library, as well as that we have something called a cyber cafe, so it's one of the other places you can eat on campus. It's located in the engineering building, so you can work there, and there's definitely a lot more opportunities, but career services, which I'll talk about in a little bit, can help you find that. So if you are someone who's living on campus, you may not have a car at the time, you can still make money and work on campus. Orientation leader, excuse me. So OLs are one of the most popular things on campus. So basically, these people will come and train a week early, and they'll have meetings all throughout the semester, and basically they are here to serve you to transition into your first year. So I'm not really sure obviously what's happening because of COVID. However, orientation leaders are the people who will welcome you during welcome weekend, help you move in. They have the best spirit, and they really love what they're doing, and it's definitely something to be involved with if you decide that you really like the experience that they gave you when you move in. And then you can be a member of a club or even a member of a club board. So there are so many different clubs you can get involved with on campus, whether it be academic. There's different club sports. So if you don't want to play D3, You don't have to, and there's just social clubs, and there's just so much to get involved with. At the end, I do have some resources, so you can definitely look it up at the different clubs that we offer on campus. But as I said before, I was involved in many different clubs. And then undergraduate research. So because Berks is smaller, you really have the opportunity to get closer with professors. For undergrad research, you just need to find a professor and a topic that they're willing to, explore with you, and you can do undergrad research. I didn't do undergrad research at Berks. However, I am planning to do research at UP, so I'm very excited about that. I really like to cook, as I talked about before, because of food science, and excuse me. One of the things we're looking into research is avocados. So the pit of avocados, you can extract oil from that, and it has all these really good healthy benefits. So as you can see, like, I can take something that I'm really passionate about and find someone who wants to research it with me, and then, be able to do that. So definitely another opportunity on campus. All right, so getting involved in clubs. So as I said before, we have academic, cultural, performance, social, service, and sports clubs. You can look it up if you just search Penn State Berks clubs and organizations. But again, there is so much to get involved with. We do have a club fair usually the first week of each semester, and there's a ton of tables. They usually do it outside under a tent, and you can go, and you know what, you can sign up for 7 clubs. It doesn't mean you have to do all of them, but you can just sign up and then see kind of what fits in your schedule. Yeah, and again, for me, I wanted to be a Lion ambassador, and I was in the library club. I was a part of the chemistry club for a semester as well. So I just want to, try things here and there, dip my toe in the water. So, and off-campus activities. So we are just off of the highway, as many of you probably know from visiting. So a few things I want to highlight is we have the Berkshire Mall. It's literally like a 10-minute drive. They have a lot of really awesome stores there. They even have a place called Your Pet Experts, which is a place that basically it's an animal place, but you're actually able to go and pet the puppies that they have there. So especially during like finals week and stuff, I know a lot of people who'll go and go there just to de-stress. So that's something that's really cool that's near us. So food. So basically like 3 minutes right off campus, there is a huge shopping center. It has Chick-fil-A, frozen yogurt, pizza, sushi, Chipotle, Target, all that stuff. So it's just nice to have really close shopping center, so you can go get things, toiletries, food, whatever you need to do. So global movie nights. So I may talk about this in a little bit. I forget if I have it on a slide later, but CAB, which is the Campus Activities Board, they put on a lot of events during the year for students. So something they do once a month on Sundays is glow bowling. So there's Berks Lanes, which is about 13 minutes from campus. So if you go and you show them your Penn State ID, you get to bowl from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock on the Sunday, and you'll get like a free snack. So it's definitely a really fun opportunity. I went a lot with my friends to this lane place, and it was definitely really fun. A lot of people, you have to focus on your work, but there's also, you need to have some fun with your friends. So glow bowling was one of the best things that they had off campus. And then movie night. So one Thursday each month, we do $3 movies at the Reading IMAX. So that's, again, like 10-15 minute drive. So you can go and you can park, and they'll validate your parking, so it's for free. And then you just show them your ID, and again, it's discounted, so it's $3 movie. It's great. So you can go there with your friends, again, if you want to get out, do something fun, and they show current movies. So it's definitely a really awesome opportunity. So trips. So another thing that CAB does is they'll do different trips. So I know they did a New York City trip. They do Broadway show trips. They went to a baseball game, and that was a trip. And it's definitely a really good opportunity because it's discounted tickets for students, and they provide transportation. So usually these things are on the weekend, so Saturday, Sunday. But again, it's something that's really fun that they like to put on. And then last, Pinterest nights and other social events. So one of my favorite things is they always do a lot of bingo, and they have really awesome prizes ranging from like a Penn State sweatshirt to a laptop, or maybe not a laptop, like a speaker or something really cool like that. And they'll do, like, we did DIY succulents, you make your own plant and you put sand and stuff like that. We even did a really cool thing where you took like a plastic vinyl record and then you decorated it and made it a clock. So these are just some of the really awesome things that they'll put on campus for us. So there's a lot of different things that you can get involved with, but that are fun too. So responsibilities. So one of the biggest things that is important to talk about is mental health. So, when you go to college, it might be your first time away from home. And even if you're commuting, it's still a big change. So two of the really good resources we have on campus are Health and Wellness Center. And within that, we have counseling services. So free of charge, we have counselors who are here to help you through this transition. And it's something that is very helpful. And I mean, I've used it. I know my friends have used it. And again, it's included in tuition. It's a free resource. So definitely take advantage of it. It's important to make sure you're heard and sort out your feelings and, try to figure out a balance for yourself in college. So the counseling services is very helpful. And then the Health and Wellness Center, of course, if you feel like you're sick, if you want to get a free flu shot, which they do offer, which is great, just anything that you have concerns with, you can go there and they will help you. So balancing college. So, you have your clubs, all of your credits, your part-time jobs, and your social interaction. Like I said, I was only involved in about 2 clubs a semester while holding a job. So it's really about finding what works well with your schedule, but also what you're interested in. So in my first semester of sophomore year, I was able to be part of the chemistry club, but that didn't work with my schedule in the next semester. So I decided to pick a different club. So again, you will definitely find the clubs that you really like and enjoy. And it's okay to sign up for a lot of them and then, only show up for a few of them because, you just want to explore a little bit. So, and then your classes. So obviously it is a big change. I have a tips page coming up, but just from me, from someone who's been here for 2 years, take advantage of, being in a small classroom. At UP, they'll have larger classrooms, which I'll adjust to as well. But at Berks, your biggest class is going to be 60 students, and that's if everybody shows up. So, try to make friends. Say hi to the person next to you. Sit with someone who you feel like you might be friends with. Talk to your professors. They will be an ultimate resource that will help you succeed in the class. And you're going to just have to find a balance. But tips from me, just, be organized. Try to figure out, what works well with you. If you feel like, you're too busy, you're biting off too much, see what you can, save for the next semester. It's okay to feel like you don't have it handled because you're going to make friends. You're going to have people who will help you through this. And again, you can talk to someone in counseling services. You can speak to your professors. They do care about you and they do care about you succeeding. So it's important to definitely reach out to them and just try to make connections at Berks. And then social stuff. As I said, there's a lot of different events that they like to put on campus. So it's really about what you feel you have time for. So sometimes if you can't go to Glow Bowling this month, then you go next month. If you can't go to the movie this month, then you can go next month. It's really just about finding that balance and being able to say, okay, I got, this much homework done, so I think I'm good to go and go to the movie today. So it's really just about finding a balance for yourself. Everybody's going to be different. Excuse me. So my first semester, I had to take a lot of credits. I was taking 18 credits because, labs and first year seminars and stuff like that. And, I was a little bit busier than I was in the next semester. So, I went to bowling and movies and events when I could. But I just made sure, to take care of myself because that's important. You have to put yourself first. And, with this transitioning into college, it's a big time in your life. And you need to make sure, that you can figure out what's best for you. So again, this is my tip page. So I'm a very organized person. I like to use planners and notes and stuff like that. So it's really up to you. I really liked writing in a calendar what was due. So that way I can, glance at it each week and be like, okay, this is what I need to have done, this day, and this is what I can do the next day. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Any professor who's had me knows I ask a ton of questions, and it's not because I don't understand it. It's one of those things where, you want to ask questions so that you can, better understand the concept, and professors will recognize it. They'll see that, you're really trying to go deeper into the topic. Make sure you set time aside for yourself. So as I said before in the introductory slide, I really like to be active and weight lift. So I try to work out 4 to 5 times a week because, it's important to take care of yourself and being healthy. Weightlifting is really good for you. So that was kind of the time that I set aside for myself to, go and be alone and just focus on bettering myself and lifting and being healthy. And that goes for even if, you want to just lay on your bed and watch Netflix. It's important important to have that downtime where you're not constantly doing work, because if you spread yourself too thin, then you might burn yourself out. And it's just so important to take those little breaks when you're doing your coursework. And like I mentioned, I like to write lists, use a planner, calendar. It's really whatever you want to do. If you want to write it on your hand, it's whatever works. I found that, using a planner helps me organize my classes well. And I was able to see, okay, this is what I need done today. I don't need to do more because, I can take time for myself, relax, watch some Grey's Anatomy or anything on Netflix, just to go down and, settle. So another thing, don't be afraid to say no. For my job, they asked me if I could work more, and I said, I can't, because I know myself, and it's important to, make sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew. So again, I was part of 2 clubs, I had a part-time job, taking 18 credits last semester, so it was just so important to and just say, no, I can't do it. But I was still showing up for my shift. I worked Tuesdays for 5 hours at a time. But it's important to know when you need to say no to something, because it's just, you need to take time for yourself. And again, have fun, get involved, reach out of your comfort zone. I was very closed off at first, but I decided to apply to be a Lion ambassador, and it just opened me up to so many things. I used to struggle with talking. I mean, I think I still do a little bit, but I'm definitely getting better. And being a Lion ambassador, I met so many people. I give tours of the campus. I do open house events. It opened me up to be a better version of me. And I think just being able to do that opened me up to more opportunities, and it really changed my life. So just don't be afraid to get involved. Don't be afraid to, say hi to your neighbor, just reach out. You never know the connections you're going to make, and they will absolutely last you a lifetime. Like, I'm definitely going to keep in touch with people I met at Berks. I've met my best friends there. I've made really good connections with professors. So that's something I'll definitely take with me. And again, Berks is small, about 2,500 students, so don't be a stranger. Having connections, even if they're loose connections, this so-and-so needed help with this, so-and-so needs people for a club, you never know, like, what you can get involved with, and the people that you can meet. I was able to meet one of my best friends through Lion Ambassadors, and we were rooming together last semester. So it's just, all these experiences will absolutely help you. And again, college, it's definitely a transition, but just keeping all these things in mind, like, you can just become a better version of yourself. You can get involved, make friends. This is like, the prime time of your life. So definitely don't be afraid. And I'm an extrovert, if you can't tell, but for introverts, it's okay, to feel like you want to keep to yourself at first, but I'm sure there's definitely people out there who are going to be the same, and you'll be able to find them, because again, campus is a little bit smaller, so you'll be able to, meet these people, reach out, make connections. And then this last page, so basically this is just a general resource page for everybody. So Penn State Berks website, career services, so a little bit about them. So career services, they can help you with a lot of different things. Outside their office, which you'll see when you go to Berks, they'll have internship listings, job listings. They can help you with scholarships. One thing that they helped me with was my resume and cover letters. So because of COVID, I wasn't able to have an internship, but they did help me prepare resumes and cover letters. And I did interview with one, but obviously it was canceled. But they are here to help you just with everything. So, even if you haven't written a resume, they will sit down with you and go through that. And something really cool is that they always hold career fairs in the engineer building. So if you go, and you can have them help you, and they can even research, what companies there are, so that you can prepare for the ones that are coming. So you can focus on writing cover letters and just, seeing what you'll be interested in. Financial aid, admissions, and transfer. So financial aid, they can't help you, or they can help you fill out FAFSA, but they won't do it. So, the financial aid that you can get at Berks, they will be there for you and help you through all the different steps, whether your parents are helping you do it, or if you're doing it by yourself. Admissions. So admissions actually was part of Lion Ambassadors. So obviously they are essential in admitting students and just the whole process. So, if you have any questions about, applying, if you have friends who are applying next year, they are definitely a really good resource for that. And transfer services. So James McCarty and Bradley are 2 people who are really, really good people, and they help you through stuff. So I took a summer class at a community college, and they were very helpful in transferring over the credits. Like, it literally took maybe 5 minutes to sit down. So that's definitely something you can do if you want to take a summer class, but you live kind of far from Penn State Berks. You're able to take other classes at different institutions. We have a tool on LionPath where you're actually able to research and find an equivalent class. So then that way you can ensure that you'll get the credit. The Health and Wellness Center I already covered, and the Beaver Community Center. So I'm not sure where they stand right now, but it is being, it's in the process of being updated. So it's actually going to be 2 floors. It's going to have up-to-date workout equipment. We're going to have 2 gymnasiums. So it's just really good stuff. And it's going to connect to the Perkins Center so that you can just walk right across. You don't have to go outside. There's also going to be like a little place for another place for food, so that, you know, if you have classes in Perkins or if you're in Beaver, that way you can, you know, stop and get some food. But it's definitely something that we're very excited about. It's been planned the past few years. We've been planning on doing it. So I know they're in the midst of that. So hopefully they'll finish it in the next year or so. But that's something we're really excited about. The library. So the library is a really good resource as well. As I talked about, you can get a part-time job there. In the library, we have the IT help desk. So that's another work opportunity. You don't need any previous experience. You can just go and have a job there. They also let you borrow laptops for a few hours so you can check them out and use them if, say, your computer's from home and you're a commuter. So that's a really good resource. They have Macs, PCs, and stuff like that. We also have a printing center. So these printers you can find almost in every building. So you'll get a certain amount of pages per semester and it's free. So that's really nice. You can print out a lot of stuff. In the library, we do have study rooms. So we'll have smaller ones that fit 1 to 3, and then we'll have bigger ones that fit like 5 to 8. So that's really nice. You're able to reserve them, but you can also walk in and see if they're available. They come with markers and erasers, so you're able to do stuff on the board. I've spent many hours in the library studying for finals and, you know, just doing homework. So that's a really good place, you know, to find some quiet. We also have the commuter lounge. So in there, there's microwaves and a sink and different vending machines. So it's not limited to commuters, but a lot of commuters like to be in there. That way, you know, they can have their lunch they brought from home. We also have another area that's kind of for like group work. So there's really comfy seating and larger tables that you can sit at, and you can be social with your friends and stuff like that. We do have a lot of computers throughout the library as well. So if you want to sit on a computer and do your work there, you are able to. And then we also have a quiet zone and a silent zone. So, you know, if you really need some quiet and you want to grind out some work, you know, it's an individual little cubby, so you can go and sit there. So that's also a really good place. I went there when I had to read a book. So it's just another opportunity you have in the library. And then also they have a media commons desk and media commons room. So those rooms actually come with the Macs. So if you're doing, you know, photography or editing videos, you're able to use those rooms. And then that's also another job opportunity on campus. And then student life. So as I mentioned before, CAB is one of the organizations, and it is a club. So you can get involved with that. You can also be a residential assistant, which is an RA. So they have residential assistants within housing on campus. So they are basically, you know, these people who help you move in. They're here for you throughout the entire semester. If you have issues, if you, you know, just need to talk to someone, these people are just, they really care about you, and it's their responsibility, you know, to take care of you and be there for you. And yeah, just being involved with student life, going to the different events. You could even be in an organization like CAB on the board. So you could be a president, you could, you know, be the treasurer and stuff like that. So again, lots of opportunities to be involved. And lastly, this is just my email if you guys have any questions. I'm done talking now. So if you guys have questions, I know Dr. Hassler will open that up.
Right. I'm going to welcome Sonia right now to facilitate our question and answer. I know we have a bunch of questions coming in already, and there's a bunch of incoming freshmen on this webinar. So go ahead and submit the questions, and I'll turn it over here to Sonia.
Great. Hi, Kayla. Thank you so much for your presentation. That was awesome. Lots of opportunity and lots of questions are already coming in. The first one I'm going to actually respond to. The question was, with COVID social distancing concerns, do you know if singles might be offered in the village too? And what I'm going to actually do is submit a link for everybody to contact Berks Campus Living. I just put it back in the Q&A because we don't have the information. We don't have those answers, but you definitely want to contact housing and they can help you out, okay? One of the other questions that came in, were your different positions on campus paid? And should students focus on positions that are paid?
So, okay, so my food services and student chef were paid. However, Lion Ambassadors is a club, so that is basically volunteering. And then as a chemistry TA, I got course credit, but it wasn't paid. I know some other campuses, they do pay for that. However, it really just depends on what you want to be involved with. So I was able to fit in the TAing in my schedule. So I usually take 6 courses during a semester, but I only took 5 that semester. And I had taken summer classes, like I mentioned, so I was able to do that. Again, you know, we're college students. We do want to have some pocket money, so it was nice to have a paid job. But the experience that I gained from being a chemistry TA was just, it's irreplaceable. You know, I made another connection with a chemistry professor I didn't have at my time there. I was able to meet friends through TAing that were also TAs. I was really able to help students. Like, we held study sessions for finals and tests and stuff like that. So again, it really just depends on what you're looking for through college. I was more looking at the experience. You know, as a student chef, I was able to make the dishes that you guys eat. So it was good experience in the food aspect. So that was separate, you know, from the science and all the courses I was taking. So it's really up to you. I mean, a lot of opportunities. So like career services, the library, being a tutor at the Learning Center, this is all paid. But again, you know, peer mentors, clubs, and TAing, it's not paid. You can get credit sometimes, but, you know, it's really about what you want to do. Lion Ambassadors, you know, this is something that we take time to do. So it did take a lot of time. That's why I wasn't really able to do many other clubs. However, you know, I was able to meet so many great people. And when you guys come to visit on campus, you know, you get to show it off. And that's just, I got up at, you know, 6:40 a.m. for open houses to be there at 7:30, and just the feeling of being able to share Berks for everyone, like, it's just irreplaceable. So just, that's my take on it. And again, it's just really up to you, but either or, it just depends what you want to do. You know, if you want to make a little money, you can work 2 days a week, you know, if you can fit into your schedule. But, you know, these other opportunities that you aren't getting credit for, you know, you're going to gain that leadership and the skills that you'll definitely carry over into jobs and stuff like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Kayla. The next question is counseling confidential, or will my professors or advisors know that I am seeing a counselor?
Counseling is absolutely confidential. It stays between you and the counselor. I mean, if you really get close with the professor and, you know, you become really friendly with them, it's up to you what you tell them. But yeah, it's completely confidential. And, you know, you're going to be 17, 18. This is stuff that stays there. Like, if you wanted to tell your parents about it, you would sign forms, but it's absolutely confidential between you and the counselor.
Great. Thank you. Next question. Were you able to visit University Park while you were at Berks?
Yes. So, one great thing I did not mention was, as a freshman, you can have your car on campus, whether you commute or not. So I have a car, and that enabled me to visit. So when I was a freshman, my brother was a senior. So I would go up and stay with him for like football games and stuff. So I was still able to go up like on the weekends. During the week, I wasn't able to visit. Like, they did have a career fair that I couldn't go to, but I was able to go up to University Park. Again, it was mostly for football games, but it did give me an idea of kind of everything up there because I was able to walk around and stuff like that. What I know of, I mean, I don't know how football is going to go this year. They do sell football tickets for certain games at Berks, and they'll have like transportation for you. You do have to sit in a certain section that's not in the student section, but it is still a discounted ticket. So that's an opportunity, like, if you don't have a car, to go up to campus. But again, you're going to make a lot of friends that most likely have cars. So that's what we did. We just took turns driving. So yes.
No, that's great. Good information. Next question is, what do you think is the best group for a freshman to join?
It really just depends on what your interests are. I wasn't able to join Lion Ambassadors until going like the end of my freshman year, and personally that opened me up, so I really like that. But it just really depends like what you're interested in. So I know lots of people do club sports, so we have like lacrosse and stuff like that, rugby. Let's see, again, Lion Ambassadors was great. Chemistry was great. You can do academic, like if you find you're really good at a class, like for all the engineers, they have engineering clubs. For all the girl engineers, they actually do have like a club for girl engineers, which is great. So honestly, my recommendation is go to these events they put on. They take time to plan these. This is where you'll meet people. You'll meet people in your classes and in Tully's and all around. But it's really depending on your interests. So, if you really like class, join an academic club. If you really want to make friends, join CAB or join something that's very social and that you help plan events and meet people. But there's definitely a lot of opportunities to meet everyone around. And then they even have cultural clubs. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you'll meet people who have a very alike interest. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, we have another question, and I know the answer to this if
yeah,
you don't.
So do
I. Okay. Can first-year students get a free planner to help with time management and planning?
Yes. During welcome weekend, we actually got like a drawstring bag, and it had like a bunch of stuff in it. So I had already bought a planner, but they did give you a planner, and I can't remember if they marked it, but there's like, they would put different events in the planner. You could also get a CAB calendar, which is the campus activities board. So that tells you about all the events. But yeah, you should get one. I don't know how they're going to do it this year if it's virtual, but they should be providing the resources.
Yeah. We're going to have lots of options available, and it's actually something that Lisa Zakowski from the Learning Center coordinates and creates. So in addition to just having the dates of events, there's a lot of information about different programs and different resources on campus, as well as online learning, for students that might be taking classes online or maybe taking some sort of hybrid class. So make sure to get a copy. Next question. Did you have a lot of time on your hands in your first semester, or were you busy adjusting to college life?
So me specifically, I had a lot of intensive classes. So my first semester, I was taking 7 courses. I don't recommend it, but it was just the way it worked out. So I had a chemistry lab, a bio lab, and then a first year seminar. So I had 4 lectures and then those 3. So I would say I wasn't as available as I would hope to be. Like I wasn't working that first semester, but I was still able to make time to do things. My courses were done pretty early in the day. So for me personally, I just had a lot of credits the first semester in particular. But I was adjusting to college life. This was the first time I was really on my own, living alone with people. So it did take some time, but also, that self-time by myself, adjusting was helpful. So, just being like doing your homework and stuff, but that's still like you adjusting and learning, how to do it and what works best for you. In my 3rd semester, so my sophomore first one, like I felt like I did have more time, which is nice. So like I went to like the Glow Bowling and the movie nights when I could. But it's definitely just about, what your major is. Every major is different. I had friends who had more time than me, because I was in labs that were like 2 or 3 hours, or they just had lectures. So it's definitely just depending on your major. But again, I tried to make time for myself to make sure, that I did give myself time to allow to adjust to college life. And, it's not instant. There's no, snap a finger time that it'll take you. It's just really when you become comfortable in your own skin in a different area.
Great. Thank you, Kayla. We have another question. Can you talk about the gen ed courses and how you felt like they were relevant to your experience as a student?
So the really cool thing about LionPath, which is one of the tools you'll use to schedule your classes, you can basically search for different criteria. So if you needed a general ed social science, you can type that in. So I definitely tried to take courses that would be helpful as they could, and B, that'd be interested in. So for example, I took AP Psych in high school. So when I saw that psychology would count as a social science, I took that because I just thought it was interesting. And even if the course material isn't completely relevant to your field, because I'm food science, it's still some science, you still gain the skills in that course, to be able to study and handle the coursework. Trying to think what else. Oh, okay. So I actually took, we have a Beatles class. So that was one of my gen eds that I took in this past semester. So the Beatles rock band. So of course that has nothing to do with food science, but it was one of those really cool classes that kind of gave you a break in all of your courses. The professor, Dr. Lin, was awesome. He was very into all this. He got to play music and videos and stuff. So although that wasn't completely relevant to my major, it was still a course I was able to enjoy. And then I took a interdomain. So that means basically that it covers 2 different general education requirements. So another class that I took in this last semester was a CAS 100 or 101N. So I actually took CAS 100A with Dawn, who is here today, and that was more of a public speaking class, but this other CAS class was basically about communication, and this was probably one of the most relevant general education classes because we really broke down, the history of communication and rhetorical writing and all of that good stuff. So you kind of understood, like, some topics were like listening and hearing and emotions, and so although that has nothing to do with food science, it kind of helped me understand like how other people process things. There's so many different ways that you can act and feel and show. So that was one of the really cool gen ed classes that I was able to take. But again, you can just search up those different criteria, whether it be health and wellness class, social science, and you'll be able to see like a course description of whether or not you'd be interested in it. But you get to pick your classes. Like no one excuse me, no one, just picks them for you. So you can take ones that are definitely applicable to your major, but you can also take ones for fun. It isn't fun if you're taking all science classes, you got to take something for fun. So that's why I tried to take the Beatles class. And, it really brought out the music person in me. Like I like to sing and play instruments. So it was nice to have, that one class to look forward to that wasn't fully science and math and all that.
Great. Well, I think that we have time for some more questions from our audience if they want to be submitted, but I think Dr. Hassler has a question for you.
Yeah, Kayla, can you talk about what your experience was with adapting to the online platform once COVID hit and we transitioned that way? So from a student perspective, what did, I can assume that some of the freshmen that are joining us here today maybe didn't have as similar of an experience as maybe you had at the college level. So can you just give them a little bit of a background of, what that looked like from the Penn State perspective, from a Penn State student once COVID, was with us?
Absolutely. So I took 6 courses last semester. 5 of them were on Zoom. So basically, every day I would have certain classes that I would go onto Zoom with. And they were still at the same time as normal classes. So it was kind of like, the same schedule. But the only thing that was different was obviously we were virtual. But the part that I really liked was with Zoom, as you can see now, you're able to type in questions and raise your hand and speak. So that was one of the really helpful tools in all of my classes. I was able to type in there, like if I had a question, whereas, if you were in person, they might not see your hand, but here, they're able to take time and stop and read your questions. It was definitely different, but I feel like for my classes, the professors were able to take the time, to go through the different slides they prepared and, say like, hey, do you have any questions? Also, something really awesome was a lot of professors had office hours. So Dr. Hassler was one of the many professors that I would Zoom with because, I had some questions. So that's something that was really awesome. You're still able to get the face-to-face contact and you can ask questions and, you were still able to be on the screen and see the same resource that you're using, like whether you were going over homework and stuff like that. It definitely was different, taking online tests, with the time crunch and just doing it at home. And, everybody's home life is different. You might have a lot of siblings, so they're loud and noisy, but just trying to find that small, quiet place, even if it was going outside, just really helped you focus. And, communication with your family also. So, if I had a test, if I had something important I was doing, I would let my family members know, like, hey, please don't bother me during this time. I really need to get this done. And I still used my planner. I still made sure to write down what was due when. Again, the Canvas calendar is always helpful. You can see what is due. It crosses it out when you finish it. I mean, it definitely was weird, being home because we were in a lockdown order, so we didn't really go anywhere. So I tried to alternate, sitting for one class, standing up for one class, just being able to change my position throughout, all the classes. Because again, I had 5 classes that I was sitting through. I don't know, obviously even taking courses yet, but for any science or engineering for labs, what we did for labs was basically that the professor would submit the data and we would be writing a pre-lab or a post-lab. So that was definitely really different because these labs would be about 2 to 3 hours. So, you had a little bit more time back that now that you weren't actually in the lab. But the good part was I was still able to experience most of my organic chem lab. So, I could envision it all happening. But again, it was a little bit different. You were only writing those papers and not getting to experience, the actual reactions, which, it was a little sad. But again, I was able to adjust doing these things. In my lab group, we had a Snapchat group chat. We were able to communicate, get done our post reports. So that was really important. But just again, finding a quiet space, writing down what you need to get done. You're saying, okay, what can I get done today, but what's not necessary for today so that I can take time for myself. Like, again, I tried to do home workouts. I tried to get out of the house and walk around the neighborhood when I could. It was all just about adjusting to your specific environment. And again, it was sad. I'm transferring to UP. I mean, I had all this time in the rest of the semester that I thought I had, to take pictures with my friends. It was spring, so it'd be nice, go to parks and stuff like that. So, part of me was really upset about that, but it just was important to, think about the good part of it. I'm safe, I'm healthy, got a roof over my head, I have food in the fridge. But that's basically how I tried to adjust. I mean, everybody's situation is different. Luckily, my dad's a CPA, so he still was working, so he still had his job. So just being able to look forward, spending time with your family, getting some work done for the day and, declaring, okay, I can do this tomorrow. But definitely planning it out and having things to look forward to. Like I like to work out, I like to bake. So just having those small things that, will get you to the finish line of the day.
Kayla, thank you so much for sharing, kind of like your personal insights on that, because I know everybody, like you said, and us as faculty and staff struggled with it as well. And I think those were some really good, helpful tips. I know in response to when we transitioned online, Professor Wrights and I collaborated to create a remote learning Penn State Berks resource blog, which is still active, and people can go on there to look for tips. And we anticipate that that'll definitely be a resource we can continue to refer to in the fall. Something that you mentioned earlier in your presentation, Kayla, was, that I had, an organizer, I use a calendar, I use all these things. How similar or different was that experience for you from high school to college? Like, is that something you just started doing, or is that something that you had been doing? What did that look like?
So yeah, in high school, that's kind of how I did it. I played softball, so I was very busy. So it was important to make sure to section off time for that. I mean, college is more relevant in my memory, so I'm trying to think back. I took AP Psych and AP Bio. But yeah, planners were just really nice to use. You can even use your phone, not calendar, or you could use your phone calendar, like phone notes and stuff like that. Putting reminders in your phone, like, hey, this needs to be done by then. You could even I think you could do sticky notes on your computer, on your desktop, just to remind you, like, hey, this is what I have done. Because in high school, they'll bug you a little bit more about doing your work. But in college, if you don't do something, that's on you. That's the one big difference from high school to college. College professors still care about you. So like if you're like a student who is really up on your work and you miss a few assignments, they might be like, hey, like, are you okay? But yeah, I definitely tried to carry over the organization part. I think that it's important to be organized just in general. Everybody functions differently, but for me, like, I have to have my list. I have to have things planned out. Like, everyone who's friends with me knows that.
All right, I think we have time for just one more. So can you just leave our guests that are joining us today with this last question? What advice do you have for these incoming freshman students? What's the one last, last impression you want to leave on them as you transition up to University Park and they're coming to Berks?
mean, there is so much to say. Really just don't be afraid to be yourself and get involved. Like my first roommate thing, like it just didn't work out and it was hard. It was, it was small campus. It was a little awkward at first, but what I did was I took that and I used it to my advantage and said, you know what, something needs to change. So I applied to be a Lion ambassador and that changed my life. I got involved with different people and these people helped guide me in the right direction. So just, don't be afraid, take that leap, be able to, explore yourself. That's really all I have to say. I mean, you really don't know where it's going to take you. If I hadn't become a Lion ambassador, I have no idea where I'd be right now. The connections that I've made, like they're never going to go away. And I'm definitely very happy and proud that I did that. So just don't be afraid to get involved.
Great. Thank you, Kayla. Thanks for chatting with us today about your involvement, your success, and your words of wisdom for the incoming class, I guess, of 2024. And we at Berks do wish you the best of luck at State College. Please stay in touch with us. We love to hear stories of your continued success. Thank you today also to our tech tutor, Trevor, who has been standing by in case of any technical difficulties. And a special thank you to all of you for joining us today for our LionSide Chat. As you click out of the webinar, you will receive an access to a survey. Please do take a few minutes required to complete the survey to let us know and Kayla know about your thoughts about today's chat and perhaps offer some ideas for future chats as well. You are encouraged to reach us out to us via email, and we remind you to keep checking our website as we are always adding new chats. As you can see on the screen here, our next chat will be this upcoming Thursday, July 9th at 3 o'clock, where we will once again pick back up with our COVID series, and we'll be talking about the criminal justice system, America in the shadow of COVID-19. So the Justice on Lockdown will be joined by Professor Ebony Cunningham for that one. Be sure to come back soon, meet with another faculty, staff, or student from Penn State Berks to share their experiences. And stay safe, Berks and beyond. Signing off until next time, this has been the Penn State Berks LionSide Chat.